How long each guy will take, it's hard to say. We're hopeful that they'll be able to play in the Florida game. I'd say Josh is more likely than Chris at this moment, but it's a long ways away before that, so I'm not going to count anybody out yet.
Mark, this is Chip. Are those both ankle injuries?
I'm sorry, I'm not hearing you very well.
I said, this is Chip. I said, are those both ankle injuries?
Josh is a foot injury, and Chris is an ankle.
Chip again. That's a bummer. You guys have had more than your share of injuries this year. Is there some good news on the injury front? Any guys going to come back for sure? Or,
right. Well, we're hopeful. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, man, how do you put it all in perspective? My bad.
Yeah, okay, I got you. Michael Bennett, we're feeling pretty good that he can make it back. And we're thinking there's a pretty good shot Gurley will be ready to play. Hoping they can get at least one full week of practice with this open date. I don't know who's really farther along than the other. I just heard that Michael's doing well, so I don't know. I really don't know what he would do this week. But hopefully both of them, to really be ready to play, you need a week. You need a week of practice.
Former Washington coach Don James died.
Yeah. But anyway, my overall impression of it is that kind of more the same. I mean, football is it's a physical game, and there's a lot of things that can happen from the contact or change of direction, whatever it may be. And we have had a lot of guys that are that have been banged up, no doubt, and it's a shame for them. But it does provide opportunity for other guys, and it provides us with an opportunity just to see how deep we can dig, physically and mentally as a team, because it's still a team sport, and we got to find ways to win and find ways to give ourselves the best chance of winning.
Mark, as a follow-up to the injuries, David Pascal, why does it seem like it certainly seems like they're more this year. I mean, just looking at the SEC East alone, I mean, Connor Shaw's doubtful this week. Missouri's got a backup quarterback. Aaron stayed healthy, but obviously Georgia's had a long list. Florida's had a long list. Why do you think injuries are happening more nowadays, and if so, why?
It seems like this year you're hearing more and more than usual, I guess, around the league. And it may be that it's not necessarily more injuries, but maybe more injuries to guys that are, more recognizable, names that are more recognizable, maybe, or guys that are starters. So there's usually a pretty long list of injuries throughout a team, and it seems like more starters, maybe, more guys that have had. Made a lot of plays in their career, but I don't know why that is. It's just it's one of those years.
Hey, Mark, it's Seth Emerson. I'm wondering if you have looked on film at the two targeting penalties, whether you're against SEC. What's the process?
Right. I don't know how much I can say about it other than kind of reporting the news, but. Obviously, I mean, Ray's maybe by the letter of the law and the rule, I guess, it fit that description. I felt like, I don't think it was I don't think that the rule was designed for that type of play, quite frankly. I think it's, as you write up rules and you're trying to define it, and everybody's trying to figure out how to call it. It got called. I think Ray was not. It didn't look as if Ray was trying to blast the guy in any way, shape, or form. I think he was trying to pull up. He certainly didn't drive through the guy or try to hit him violently in any way, shape, or form. I didn't think. I really believe that the the guard was actually holding him with his left hand. And when he was losing him, a lot of times when you're losing a guy as an offensive lineman, you'll push the defender, try to push him by the quarterback. And I think he even got a little shove towards the quarterback, actually. But in the I guess the letter of the law, the officials felt like that it was a foul, or at least when it happened in game speed. And then when it was replayed and they took a look at it, I really don't know for sure why they didn't allow him to play. I'm glad that it happened in the first half, where now he won't miss any of the game against Florida. That's the best part about it. But I really don't think that's what that rule was trying to capture, that type of play. Obviously the one with Richt, it was a good, clean play, and the officials, after reviewing it, felt the same way. But because of the rule, as it states, you still have that 15-yard penalty, even though the replay, they felt like it was a clean play. So my guess is that'll be one of the biggest topics, the hottest topic on this rule, is whether or not, if you're going to review it and let a guy stay in the game because you don't think it was targeting, that you might possibly take the penalty away. There are some times when the officials a flag will go on the ground and they go and they confer with each other and decide on the field that there's no flag on this play. And I don't think it'd be a whole lot different than that. It might make sense in the future to consider, the possibility of saying that, if there was no foul, then let's not mark it off.
Mark, it's Mark Weiser in Athens. You have 2 weeks now between games. I wanted to ask you about kind of how you might approach things with the team, and what changes are you considering making that can help your team down the stretch?
Yeah. Well, tomorrow will be a big day. I gave everybody off today, coaching staff, class, and not to say that they're not watching film and trying to figure out, they're probably grading film and all that kind of stuff on their own, but I'll meet with the offense, defense, and special teams coaches tomorrow. We'll view the film together. We'll talk about personnel. We'll talk about anything that we might need to, change as far as scheme, or if we need to, open up a competition somewhere along the way. We'll talk about all that tomorrow, but right this minute I don't have anything to report.
Mark, David Pascal again. Can you talk? You touched on Damian Swan a little bit last week during your Tuesday presser, but obviously yesterday he was very active, 10 tackles, a couple of breakups. Obviously he had the big fumbled punt. Just the kind of year he's having. Obviously, his versatility and the position he plays lends himself to being in the spotlight a lot, whether good things or bad things happen.
Yeah. Well, when you play that position, you're exactly right. I mean, there's going to be a lot of balls thrown your way. There's going to be a lot of opportunities to make plays, and if you're back there returning kicks or whatever, then you have the spotlight on you there as well. And I think you described it well. It's been some good and some bad, and but I think he's playing hard. I think he's practicing hard. I think he cares, and I think I think that he had a pretty good ball game overall. This was his first game and only game, I think, minus the return, the punt. He played hard, and he won some and lost some, but I think he won more than he lost. Yeah, but that's kind of the nature of that position. I mean, you're gonna make plays, and guys are gonna make plays on you. That's part of it. And the long ball down the sideline, I got an opinion on that too, and what I saw happen, and where I felt like I thought the receiver got away with one on that one, but the official didn't see it the way I saw it.
Mark, this is Murray again. Missouri had pretty good offensive success again yesterday against Florida, but Florida's known for certainly a really good secondary. So how big a challenge is it going to be your work to get your receivers to be able to get some create some space and all, when they're running the routes?
Yeah, it's a big one. That's a big one, Murray. Missouri matched up pretty good in that area with those big receivers, and and I think that Florida's cover guys are ones that could stick with anybody when it comes to speed, agility, change of direction, all that kind of thing. And the one thing that the Missouri guys could use as an asset is their size. And I didn't see the game. I didn't see one play of it, but I could imagine the big physical receivers give anybody a tough time because there just aren't many 6'4", 6'5" corners out there. And so the size would be something that I'm sure they could use to their advantage. And until I see the film, I'm not sure that's what happened. But for us, it will be a tremendous challenge to find a way to create a little space and some separation from those guys, because they're not afraid to try to lock you down man to man. And when they do that, there's nowhere to hide at the receiver position. You got to find a way to get open or make the tough catch in tight coverage.
Hey, Mark, it's Seth Emerson again. I know on special teams, I know the whole special teams coach thing has been beaten to death, but do you feel there's a need to take a good, long, hard look at the way things are being done by you guys? Is there any kind of thread to the problems, or is it just a really bad season for it?
Well, I think, again, you've got to look at everything in totality. Everybody wants to talk about the things that go wrong, and obviously when things go wrong and they cost you a position or whatever it is, it's a huge deal. But, whether you got a special teams coach or you don't have a special teams coach, I mean, as far as when you have whether you have a special teams coordinator or not, you got to field the punt, you got to snap the ball, you got to catch the snap. What does that have to do with, whether you got a special teams coordinator or not? I mean, it's just things that we've got to be able to execute the basic fundamentals of it. And those guys are very capable, and I do have faith that they can get the job done. We've got the ability. We just got to be consistent in that way. And when it comes to looking at offense, defense, special teams, we have to do that. We always have to do that. I do, head coach, and always be looking for ways to get better.
Nate, to follow up on that a little bit, Mark, this is Chip. You guys are obviously limited on time, 20-hour week with the NCAA. How much time, those guys like snapping and specialists, they're working on that stuff pretty much the whole game. How much time do you guys commit to it generally in your practice, your entire practice workflow?
Well, yeah, in a competitive, in a team or a competitive situation, there's only so many times a week that we'll do that. We'll work on those things, but like you say, they've got plenty of time with. I mean, the punters and the kickers and the snappers and the holders, they've got really as much time, more than enough time to work on those things, and they do work on those things, and we just got to settle down and put it on the money. That's all there is to it.
Mark, this is Dean Legge. Are the snappers and the holder, are they putting too much pressure on themselves, basically?
Well, that can happen. That can happen. I mean, once you look at Blair Walsh's senior season. I mean, his sophomore season, junior season, he's one of the better kickers in America from a statistical point of view. And then for whatever reason, his senior year, he missed a couple early, and then he probably started to press, and he didn't play his normal up to his normal ability. And then, of course, he goes on, and he's all pro. His rookie season, he kicks, more 50-yard field goals in a row than anybody in the history of the NFL. So obviously he has the talent base, and every once in a while a guy, gets into a situation where he misses a couple. It's probably similar to, Major League Baseball players who are, hitters that, sometimes they'll be hitting it great. Sometimes they won't. They got the ability, but they get going on a little bit of a bad streak. It's hard to shake it loose. And but again, we know we have guys that have the capability. They just got to settle down and do what they do. And we're not going to give up on them. I mean, we know that between Theus and Fricks, both those guys are very capable. We just got to get one of them to settle down and put it on the money.
Mark, 2 more questions on Swan. The nickel spot, I know he had to play there. Is that a good spot for him, or is that just kind of because of Josh's deal?
Well, he played there last year. That was really where he played the most. He played more inside in the nickel than he did outside last year. And, I think he has a comfort level in there, no doubt. But, whether or not – and then Josh does a good job in there, too. I don't know if it's something they could split and I don't know how healthy Josh is going to be, quite frankly, for this next game. So I'm sure Damien will be repping a lot inside until we know for sure what the deal is with Josh. And he's the backup guy, or he was the backup guy going into this past game anyway.
And Damien was returning that punt. What's the thinking in that situation? Does it have to do with where the ball is on the field? And I mean, what's?
No, we were in punt safe.
Yeah.
If you remember 2 years ago, they faked the punt on us,
right.
Somewhere around that territory, about the same distance. And at the time of the game, I think they were down 13, and clock's ticking, and we made a great stop. And I called for the punt safe, and when we go punt safe, he's already on the field, and we keep him in there because he's got experience catching those balls, and that's designed to be a fair catch anyway. We know when we're punt safe, we're not going to get much of a return. So it's just a matter of fielding the ball, and he's been doing that his whole life. So just hit off his chest.
You think it'll be hard to grab these guys' attention after a couple of tough losses in terms of in some of the goals maybe not looking too good?
Well, I think we'll be fine, really. I think we got a really good group of players, and it's not only talent, but it's people. These guys are really good people. I know our coaching staff is going to be working hard and believing and knowing there's a lot to play for. Obviously, playing Florida is enough to get anybody motivated to play, but when you look at the league, everybody's got 2 losses but Missouri, so it's not impossible. Missouri's got 5 more conference games, so mathematically it's not over. To me, I'm going to fight till it's over. And I think the coaches and the players feel the same way.
Any more questions, Coach Richt?
I appreciate you guys. You have a good night.
All right, thanks, Joe.
Good job, Coach.